Thank you. Secretary of State, the current phase of the rollout now extends to January. Was this always the plan?
Yes. So there's always been then a pause for a month, but that has, I think, been in the plan as my predecessor sort of set out. I think last year, and the purpose of that is to further learn from the experience of what's happened over this period. It's always been the way that Universal Credit has had periods of expansion, then holding whilst we look at the evidence. Just in the way as there was, we had 29 new job centres in July. There was then a pause in August before rolling out more in October. So that's always been part of the plan.
Because normally you'd look and think there's a fire break, because you really need to pause, gather the information you need, reassess where you are, and then go forward, having improved the offering, having improved Universal Credit. But we're hearing mounting evidence of concerns and problems, whether it's the, as Mr. Coyle said, about the eviction level arrears that's increasingly becoming apparent in certain housing associations, the difficulties of people getting advance payments. There's 10% of people using Citizens Advice Bureau's services have waited over 10 weeks. There seems to be mounting evidence that there are problems within the system, and surely there ought to be a very significant fire break now to reconsider the evidence that's mounting to say that there are problems in the system.
Well, I think what the evidence shows is that timeliness of payment is improving. I think we also ought to be aware that the evidence is showing that people who are on Universal Credit, if you look at them some months after the claim has been made versus equivalent people on the legacy benefits, people
so
are...
are you closing data?
Yeah, I mean, if I just finish this point, then I'll actually come on this. But this is the point about those who are on UC versus equivalent people on legacy benefits. 6 months down the line, you are more likely to have worked if you were on UC than if you're on the legacy benefits, and you were more likely to be progressing in work than if you were on the legacy benefits. Which is consistent with the modelling that was done at the beginning of the process that suggests that UC will result in 250,000 more jobs in this country when it is fully rolled out than would otherwise have been the case on versus the legacy benefits. Now, in terms of that study, one of the challenges here is to make sure that you've got a control group, so that the further you go into this process, the harder it is to have a control group. You have to look at different types of people because, for example, every new claimant who is sort of single and unemployed is now going on to Universal Credit. But we are looking again at updating that study. There's been 3 studies and they've all pointed to the direction that UC was doing better than the legacy benefits. But yes, we're looking again to see if we can replicate that study and see if it continues to support that trend.
Chris?
I agree with the idea, the vision behind Universal Credit. I think it's a very good thing. But when you see the problems mounting up, and you see that the rollout has only going from 8% to 10% in January, when it should have already pretty much been completed, really, from the initial vision. If this is such a good thing, but actually it's being delayed and delayed and delayed, so people aren't actually going to get the support they need to get into work. So do we have to pause, reconsider, perhaps significantly change Universal Credit, and then come back again?
No, I don't believe so. And as I say, I think there are real positive benefits there, and a pause would delay us making progress to that additional 250,000 jobs and providing help to large numbers of our citizens. I'd point to the fact that the system is improving as we've rolled out. I mean, what we'd seen in terms of full service rather than the live service, what we'd seen with the full service was for a long time we were doing 5 job centres a month. And there's always the suspicion that when you're doing 5 job centres a month, you're kind of getting crack teams in there. There's a lot of oversight from the centre, and it's all very carefully managed. Well, in July, we did 29 job centres. And the process has worked. So you can't have the same centralised oversight when you're doing 29 job centres as you're doing 5. If I look at the metrics in terms of those 29 job centres, they're performing well. In fact, payment timeliness is slightly above the average across the country. But it's only by that testing and learning, it's only by extending that we know that there is a capability to do this over more job centres than the case in the past.
So there will be a fire break in January?
There will be a fire break, but that has been in the plan. I should acknowledge...
No, I agree, it's been in the plan.
Yeah, always. And I should also acknowledge when I say, it's always been in the plan, I'm conscious that, there have been many plans for Universal Credit, but the plan that we've had for now some time, which is about a test and learn, gradual, steady rollout, strikes me as getting the balance right. I think we do need to maintain the rollout and keep expanding it and so on. But as I say, it's a pretty steady rollout that gives us the opportunity to learn and make improvements. And I would hope and expect that every month there will be refinements, improvements, changes, things that, for example, make it easier to verify particular aspects more quickly, all of which moves us in the direction through lots of small incremental changes to a system that is getting better and better. But it is already, even at this stage, it is already helping more people into work than the legacy benefits.
Please.
That's right, can I add
Sorry,
one
can we
thing?
just bring Neil in?
I'll just add one thing, just from the perspective as the kind of accountable official for rollout. It may have escaped the committee's notice a couple of things here. First of all, I told the Public Accounts Committee back in 2014 that I wouldn't roll out Universal Credit if I didn't think it was safe to do so. On the basis of looking at the then plans, I changed the plans and persuaded actually 3 Secretaries of State, 2 Prime Ministers and 2 Chancellors of the Exchequer, because it overlapped that change at the top of government, that we needed to change the plan to make it more safe to do. And I have also paused the programme before. I paused the programme back in February 2016. I don't think anybody noticed, but what happened was we went live in Hounslow Job Centre. We got 3 times the flow of cases that we were expecting, and it overwhelmed our operation. So I stopped the programme there. I paused it for a couple of months until we could re-steady ourselves. And I will do so again if I think the evidence merits that.
So